Famous economist Joseph Schumpeter described ancient Rome in a way that sounds like the United States in 2022. Quote, "There was no corner of the known world where some interest was not alleged to be in danger or under actual attack. If the interests were not Roman, they are those of Rome's allies. And if Rome had no allies, the allies would be invented. When it was utterly impossible to contrive such an interest, why, then it was the national honor that had been insulted. The fight was always invested with an air of legality. Rome was always being attacked by evil-minded neighbors. The whole world was pervaded by a host of enemies. It was manifestly Rome's duty to guard against their indubitably aggressive designs." In 1938, British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain signed the Munich Pact, handing portions of Czechoslovakia to Adolf Hitler's Germany. This included the town where Joseph Schumpeter was born. Chamberlain returned to Britain to popular acclaim, declaring that he had secured, quote, "peace for our time." Today, he is portrayed as a foolish man who was wrong to appease Hitler, a cautionary tale for any leader silly enough to prefer negotiation to confrontation. This 1938 event is a favorite talking point for American warmongers, who state appeasement caused World War II. As a result, peace negotiations are dangerous, and anyone who suggests compromise is a weak appeaser. Even allies must obey American dictates, lest they become enemies. This has made the United States a danger to world peace as it continues its quest to conquer the world. This arrogance was best demonstrated by former President George W. Bush.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy. There's no in between. You're either with us or you're with the enemy. That's clear. I will continue to make that clear.
Democratic Party leaders are no better, as explained by Senator Mike Gravel during a 2008 presidential debate.
It's like going into the Senate. You know, the first time you get there, you're all excited. My God, how did I ever get here? Then about 6 months later, you say, how the hell did the rest of them get here? And I got to tell you, after standing up with them, some of these people frighten me. They frighten me. When you have mainline candidates that turn around and say that there's nothing off the table with respect to Iran, that's code for using nukes, nuclear devices. I got to tell you, I'm President of the United States. There will be no preemptive wars with nuclear devices. To my mind, it's immoral, and it's been immoral for the last 50 years as part of American foreign policy.
Let's use a little moderator discretion here. Senator Gravel, that's a weighty charge. Who on this stage exactly tonight worries you so much?
Well, I would say the top-tier ones. The top-tier ones. They made statements. Oh, Joe, I'll include you, too. You have a certain arrogance. You want to...
Americans are taught that the 1938 Munich Peace Accords failed because evil Nazis violated the agreement when they invaded Czechoslovakia 6 months later. In fact, it was a successful peace conference that prevented war, and the Germans were invited into Czechoslovakia to deter a Hungarian invasion. These problems began in 1920 after the victorious British and French created a new multi-ethnic nation of Czechoslovakia with the Treaty of Trianon. Prague was designated its capital, and its government was dominated by Czechs, although the majority population consisted of Slovaks, Hungarians, Germans, Ukrainians, and Poles. But the Slovaks and Ukrainians wanted their own nation. The Germans wanted to be part of Germany, the Hungarians part of Hungary, and the Poles part of Poland. They held referendums where they voted to leave Czechoslovakia and appealed to major world powers to support them. This led to political tensions and street protests. The defeated Kingdom of Hungary, had lost 72% of its territory after World War I and openly sought to reconquer it. In 1938, its troops massed on the Czech border and demanded a return of land. Poland had just bullied Lithuania to cede 1/3 of its territory. Polish troops massed on the Czech border, demanding Polish regions. Germany massed troops on the Czech border, demanding that the German-populated Sudetenland region be allowed to join Germany. Meanwhile, Slovak leaders left Prague and declared an independent Slovak Republic. These events devastated the Czech army, as half its soldiers were not Czech and many deserted. Czech leaders pleaded with the French and British to send military help, but they were not ready for war and had no easy access to landlocked Czechoslovakia. Moreover, they had suffered greatly from World War I and had no interest in squabbles caused by their inept map drawing in 1920. In 1938, European leaders met in Munich and devised a peace agreement that allowed the Germans in the Sudetenland to join Germany, ceded a Polish area to Poland, and Hungarian areas to Hungary. Slovakia soon declared independence, but feared a Hungarian invasion. They asked for an alliance with Germany, and this was granted. The Czechs still ruled mostly Czech regions and feared an invasion from aggressive Hungary. Since the Czechs were mostly surrounded by powerful and economically successful Germany, they sought its protection. Czech Prime Minister Emil Hacha traveled to Berlin to meet with Adolf Hitler about food shortages and the threat from Hungary. They agreed the Czech region should become a German protectorate with free trade and the protection of the German army. Most historical accounts claim the Germans invaded Czechoslovakia in violation of the Munich Pact after Hacha was summoned to Berlin and threatened with harm unless he agreed to surrender. This is false. The German occupation was legalized by voluntary agreements signed with the Czech and Slovak leaders. German forces peacefully marched into Czechoslovakia amidst cheering crowds to deter the Hungarians and Poles. The Czech government remained in power to rule the new protectorate of Bohemia-Moravia. Most German soldiers withdrew a month later, as the Czechs kept their own army with 7,000 soldiers. Neville Chamberlain averted a senseless war in 1938, yet American imperialists demean him as a foolish appeaser.
Incredible it is that we should be digging trenches and trying on gas masks here because of a quarrel in a faraway country between people of whom we know nothing. War is a fearful thing, and we must be very clear before we embark on it